Well, hot damn Fate Grand Order Babylonia. Still consider we have 2 episodes remaining of this masterpiece. I'm willing to call it that at this point in time. The escalation, the threat, the final goodbyes from multiple characters, the overwhelming sense of doom and despair, it really is second to none at the face of the end of the world. And holy shit, has this endgame been insane. The week's breaks that we've had, the multiple planned recaps have done wonder for this production to keep the quality high and make it feel consistent and just total annihilation all in the process. This episode had me on the edge of my seat, wanting to tear up alongside these characters, but most importantly wanting to push forward because that's how inspiring it was. I thought maybe Gorgon would probably be the biggest emotional punch of the episode. Kingu as well, because we knew Kingu was going to join in the battle at some point in time. But Gorgon, I was like, okay, we got a good understanding of who it is. I don't think any of us really assumed that it was going to be the full-on what we saw before, but I thought they're going to leave it a little more open to interpretation. But it was nice to see that final goodbye with her and how thanking for the flowers, but not wanting to really have a nice sit down and chit-chat, not only because they don't have time to, but also it would hurt too much to properly say goodbye. But rather than, leaving things open and kind of unresolved, you can at the very least destroy the bitch's wings. And if that's not a good goodbye, I don't know what is. Just that conflict of seeing 2 monstrous sizes and forms just take shape, and just to see the amount of gods and goddesses and just how much has been thrown this girl's way, and she still keeps on crawling, using black mud after mud after mud. And it's just like, on one hand, you're really happy to see how she just doesn't go down, because she actually does feel like the end of the world, unlike a lot of movies or TV shows, games, where it's like, hey, here's a giant beast, that's your final boss, and because you have a great ability or because you have a great party, it's like a 5-minute fight because you're just that overpowered. With here, it's like there's no overpowered here. Fujimaru, he has no command spells left. He's basically shit out of luck. He almost has no energy left. All his servants are pretty much on their last batteries, and it's literally up to just whoever is left to hopefully seal the deal. And it was really nice to see just that pushing forward and how it really did feel like a final goodbye for pretty much everyone. When you see King Gilgamesh just standing alone, basically, his people are dead. There's a lot of brutality. You're seeing images where it's very similar to, even if you haven't played the game, and as I've mentioned, I've only played the first few singularities of Grand Order. I never got up to this point. But there's been plenty of flashbacks throughout this anime where you've seen cities burning, and you can tell Fujimaru's seen some shit. And to finally have a moment in Babylonia where pretty much whether you played the game or you're brand new to the story or you never reached this part into the story like me, you witness something that just makes everyone in sync understand what has happened up to this point, and that what we're seeing is the worst he's ever dealt with. And if he's been having chit-chats on the rooftop, feeling like he's failed before, imagine what seeing all of this will do to him. Even if he feels like he succeeded, there's been a lot of casualties, and that's a heavy burden for the last master of humanity to have to deal with. That sniper shot that Gilgamesh took for Fujimaru was something I wasn't expecting, but I did like his personality, basically acting like it was just a flesh wound, and how, as long as Fujimaru could keep on pushing, that's pretty much all that matters, because you really do gotta appreciate what Fujimaru has done in this time period, because all along it kind of felt like this is what was going to happen. No matter how many people you summon, even if the entire universe came down to stop this, it feels like this would be the final battleground, that his city would fall to some degree, but as long as their culture could live, that's all that he's ever cared for. But it really is, you gotta appreciate Fujimaru, and anyone who's ever called him generic or boring, I really think they should go back, rewatch the show, and count the number of times Fujimaru has had the chance to use power of friendship, where he doesn't want to attack someone because they used to be his ally, or he doesn't want to just let people sacrifice themselves for the greater good. Countless times throughout the past few episodes, he's had to swallow his pride and turn his back either at a forgotten friend or someone who he knows has to kill themselves for the greater good. He has completely avoided all major missteps. The major tropes he's had is been directed for comedy scenes. All his serious moments, which honestly, 2/3 of the anime has been more serious, if you take in the back half and a lot of the beginning content, the middle portion a lot more comedic for sure. There's nothing cliche there in the slightest. That's why he's one of the best main characters a Fate project has had, period. And I can only imagine how great he could become if we really see his entire journey animated in anime form, especially to this high quality and standard. I mean, it was great to see just how everyone was really giving it their all. And when Kingu came in, I thought it was not only a reliever, but it was so sweet and emotional to not only see Gilgamesh for the second time send his friend basically to death. Like, he's recognized this. But you can also tell there's a difference there because unlike previous time where he's had so much sense of guilt and regret, I mean, we can look at how the anime first started. There was a very depressed Gilgamesh looking down at his dead friend. But now it feels as if it's something that he's honored by, that he's proud to die alongside his friend because he knows this is what needs to happen. And to see just the number of times we've seen a character basically use their super move, whether you're crashing the universe down or using a chain that's going to hold you into place, even for a couple of seconds, it's going to drive you insane. It's just like to see how many things kept getting thrown her way. And generally when you have a person or a creature, an object, something that just can't be put down, that can grow stale if there's just this escalation of like, you know, no matter what you throw at it, it just doesn't feel like it worked. And that can be really distracting if it's a normal character, like someone who's actively talking to you and, you know, just is kind of giving you those shonen lines. But when you literally have basically the all-powerful doom of humanity trying to destroy the world, it feels a lot more acceptable when just things don't happen. And it just lets things just continue to escalate at a higher and higher tension. And to have finally, like, sucked down to the underworld, you're thinking to yourself, okay, we got 2 episodes left. It's not going to end here, but at the very least, what can she really do? And then you see what she can do. And I'm just like, okay, I love this show. It just knows how to continue to raise the stakes and tension. And Erish is such a precious character. I mean, I love how she was so proud, like, yeah, I did this, and then immediately switched to, oh shit, you might want to find someone else because I'm going to have to call in sick for work today. I honestly thought there was going to be no real way for Fujimaru to win this. I actually thought they were building up to a total destruction where he was actually going to fail. Something to that nature, because it just felt like, at that point, what could you do? And then Merlin comes dropping in. And the fact that he wasn't resummoned, he literally dropped in from Avalon, I thought was like, yeah, that's Merlin for you. Of course he would do that. Especially because he's always said he wanted to see humanity's final moments, right? And I thought it was great to see him, and I was like, okay, I guess that's how they're going to deal with it. But it even seemed like that wasn't going to work. So I just keep questioning, like, how are you going to deal with it? And that hooded figure, that mysterious bearded man who we offered a homeless guy some food once, now is going to be the guy who's probably going to stop this entire monstrosity, and he's becoming a total badass, and I am incredibly excited to see what he's going to do. I think there's definitely going to be a lot more tricks up the sleeves because, I mean, we still have 2 episodes left, and I mean, I doubt it's just going to be one battle between these two. Of course, that's probably going to dominate next episode, but at the same time, I think there's plenty of other characters that can probably incorporate themselves. I mean, we still have, of course, Erish, we still have Ishtar, I mean, we got Merlin down here, we got Fujimaru and Mosh, so, like, we still have some characters, but, like, everyone's dead. It really is that. Everyone's basically dead, burned alive, and the thing with it is, though, for the amount of characters we lost this episode, they all went out with a smile. They really did, right? They went out with a smile because they were honored and proud of what they were able to achieve. And there wasn't a single doubt in anyone's mind that it was going to end there. Like, their death was going to mean, like, the people that they're trying to help and try to keep alive are going to go out. So it made it all the more, like, it was bittersweet is probably the best way to put it, where, of course, it's sad to see these characters go, but it didn't feel like their sacrifices were in vain or anything like that. And when you see just how high quality the production is, there was a lot of 3D in this episode, but honestly, 90% of it looked really good. I loved how they blended it in, because really the best way to make these characters pop, especially if they're going to be a 3D model, is to have a more gloomy environment to back it, because anytime it would feel jarring against the characters, it's going to blend in with the shadow and smoke or just the other creatures in the foreground or background, things like that. And just the number of times explosions happened in the sky or an object was flying at like Mach speed, it just felt like every time we were like, okay, that's like the best animated moment of the episode. 2 seconds later, a completely different ability, a different character activated something, and you're just like, holy shit, this is why planned recaps are not something to be shunned. I honestly wish every anime had planned recaps from the beginning, like 2 to 3, because it would help in so many cases. Like, obviously not every anime is going to have as much action as something like Babylonia, because literally the entire endgame has been just one big action set piece with a couple of dialogue points at certain sections. But honestly, you can definitely tell that teams need this. Like, we gotta stop the crunch time. But of course, I mean, it does cost a lot of money for planned recaps alone, because you have to take a week of not actually airing an episode, things like that. But still, you can just see that I think Fate Babylonia is a testament to how to do anime production. Of course, it definitely has a little more freedom because it's based on such one of the most popular mobile games to date, So they definitely have the resources that other teams don't, for sure, don't get me wrong. But at the same time, from having literally the director enter into the back half of this anime feeling confident that the production wasn't going to suffer because they were so well ahead of schedule despite almost every episode having an action set piece in this back half, the fact that they planned these recaps, it just feels like this is as healthy of a production cycle as it comes for anime. And not only does it show in the quality, it just gives you a lot of hope that teams, they don't have to fall victim into what we're typically used to reading about and seeing firsthand in the anime industry. We love watching our anime, but I mean, they kill themselves to make it. And I mean, a project like this, to look as good as it is, to be able to not only have recaps and have people not be mad that they're watching a recap or waiting a week because they know they're going to get greatness the following episode, but to just know that the teams probably had a lot better sleeps at night because they didn't have to, do all-nighters every single day, or at least not to the same degree as probably a lot of studios animating an action scene or something like that in this current season. It makes you happy because the quality just shows. It oozes style, and I loved looking at every moment of this episode. It was exhilarating, it was emotional, and it felt like the characters who were still around or the characters who came back or went away, it just felt like they had a purpose without giving one character the dominating spotlight until the end of the episode where it's like, oh yeah, he's dominating the spotlight now. But as always, let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Game players, anime originals, what did you think? And what was your favorite moment? There's plenty to pick from, so do let me know. Be sure to like the video if you did enjoy, and remember to hit that subscribe button if you haven't new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.